getting hit multiple times coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows.
Good evening and welcome in to the Ray Esports Club Racing. Well, good evening and welcome in to Ray Esports Club Racing League here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. We are live at Sebring. It is the springtime, so Sebring will end up in our periphery for the next month or so. I am Charles Boshell alongside Josh Wilkie, who's doing double duty tonight. He'll be helping in on the commentary as well as doing the production work, keeping the lights on in the building. And Josh, great to be with you tonight, and looking forward to a nice double header here with the Mustangs and the Spec Miatas to follow just after.
Yeah, absolutely. This should be a good one, I think, in the Mustangs, and of course the Miatas afterwards always race well, I think. I think the Mustangs are going to be kind of an exceptional challenge around here tonight. It's bumpy. There's a lot of corners out here that I don't think these cars like very much, although they are pretty good on the bumps and they're pretty good at taking curbs. They can be unsettled very easily as well. They're not so easy to get slowed down or sped back up sometimes. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting out there on this track, especially with all these drivers. Pretty thick field tonight. Yeah,
pretty good field tonight. Looks like we've got 21 in the server. We've got 18 who have already set qualifying times, with Miles Crabb sitting on top of the pole there at 223.009, and Chuck Lomano just behind by 700ths of a second or so, and then David Finch just quickly behind. So nice 3-car battle up there for pole position as we get started here. And yeah, it's Sebring is known for old concrete and lots of bumps. That is its character, and it makes for some very challenging races. A very twisty track, flat. Obviously, no, here we are in South Central Florida. No elevation to speak of, as we are just basically on a flat track here. But a very challenging course, and I agree with you. The Spec Miatas coming up later are going to be. It's going to be a fun race. I always enjoy watching those, and Sebring for those cars is a real fun combination. So looking forward to this as we're on board here with Miles Crabb, and we'll see if we can just kind of ride along here. And as we get back around to the start-finish line, we'll do a little bit of a drive-through and take a look at this track layout for those who are maybe not iRacing, or racing, purists. Might not be able to know all of the turns, but we'll see if we can get through all of these for you as we make the run down the front straight and we get to the start finish line. We've got a nice long straightaway here. It's going to be very comfortable in the draft for these cars tonight, as well as the Miatas a little bit later, as Miles Crabb will stop and park the car at the end.
Oh, we picked up Chuck.
There we go.
Right
Look at
there.
that. Chuck Lomano. All right, coming through turn 1. Very, very high speed corner there. You have to kind of just let the car roll through as we come down here into turn 2 and 3. And we'll work our way through this little small, tight, almost chicane, but not quite. That'll be turn 5 there coming out. We'll get the run down through here. This is turn 6 as you're still getting on the power. Rolling down this will end up being a straightaway into the hotel turn 7, the hotel hairpin. If you see the hotel there on the left side of your screen. And very, very hard braking zone. Good passing opportunity for these cars running into 7. We'll come out of 7 in through 8 and 9. Fangio, I believe it's called. And then we'll make our run down into Collier. Another really difficult section of corners here is you got to try and get the car rotated through here out of that little bit of a quick straightaway, and then through Cunningham, and we'll make our way around Pilot to Tower, which is this corner right here. This is the some of the oldest concrete there on the circuit, and a very difficult corner, especially if you're trying to fight somebody too wide through. We'll make our run down this not so straightaway as we get down here into Indianapolis, Gindabian, and then finally Le Mans, which will carry us onto the Ullman Straight, which is the back straight here. Another high-speed opportunity at the very end as we head down towards Sunset Bend. There'll be lots of challenges here as the cars behind will work their way and try and work by, get in a good position on the inside, try and roll through the Sunset Bend corner. As you can see, this car's in there lifting about the two cone mark and floating their way through. Lots of bumps through here. You got to be very careful. You see the car rattling as it works its way through and out of Sunset, and then back around to the start finish line, and that completes the lap. And we're getting them done at about 222.7 for Miles Crabb. Chuck Lomano with his last lap was at 224, so did not improve. But I think he's going to try another lap here just before the end of qualifying. He's got since I think this is not open qualifying, it's going to be his last lap. We'll roll over to the race session here just as soon as we get the clock strikes 15, and there it is.
Just gonna teleport them right out of there. That's always a little abrupt when you're driving and the force feedback just boop, cuts off all of a sudden. It can feel a little bit frightening at times there. But yeah, I think we've got a race start here. We'll get that grid as soon as I can get it for you here, and there we go.
Yep. Here we go. All right, so our race, our starting group here: Miles Crabb on pole, Chuck Labano outside of row 1, David Finch alongside Kyle Robertson to make up row 2, Ian Anderson and Michael Brennan will take up row 3. P7 is Edgar Santinelli, Dylan Bose in 4th. In 8th, Joe Cicchetti in 9th, Seth Bowman rounding out your top 10. Stevie Ray, the man himself, in 11th. Andrew Love in P12. As we scroll the screen here to the second half of the grid.
I've lost my scroll buttons here. Give me one.
Oh wow!
Give
no
me
problem.
One moment.
I'll kind of do it by hand here.
There we go.
There we go.
I
All
found
right,
it.
Josh Justice in 13th, Dave Jansen in 14th, John Casey in 15th, Freddie Weaver starting in 16th. Frito Sport guys all here together. It looks like Matt Thompson 17th, Zach Miller 18th, Josh Soto pops in late. He'll start 19th. Bodie Sewin starting in 20th. Sorry, Bodie. Aaron Bray starting in 21st. Eric Yeagle will end up starting in P22. That is your starting grid, and we haven't even got them rolling off the line yet. So we've got about 3 minutes or so here to talk about this upcoming race, Josh. So obviously we talked about the FR 500, old car here, the iRacing service. These are from, I think, somewhere around 2010-ish, somewhere around in the neighborhood. So obviously been out here for quite a while, and you had a little bit of experience in these cars, at least behind the wheel. So what are we looking to see here with these drivers as we get started?
Yeah, well, I think with these, behind the wheel a little bit, but having quite a bit of experience in the booth watching a lot of these drivers. Some of them actually from the AMS series here, the likes of Chuck Labano. I believe we have Edgar Frito Santinelli out there as well, Joe Cicchetti. These are all guys that are over there as well. And I can tell you, you got to think, I think, a little bit more in these cars about passes and stuff. You're not gonna be able to get out of it on the brakes or on the gas necessarily like you can in some other cars. If you kind of overstep a corner a little bit, this thing is going to keep going through that corner. You need to get your brakes right. You need to position the car correctly. You need to think about those passes and get them done. You're moving a lot of weight there on some skinny tires and some not great brakes. It makes the cars really fun. They kind of wallow around on the brakes a little bit. You can sort of feel the body roll. I personally have a pretty good time in these cars, and I think it's going to be an interesting challenge out here just to get some of that braking, especially down into that hairpin, a notoriously bumpy braking zone, and could be pretty difficult in these today. I'm going to be keeping my eye out for that. I think Sunset is going to be a bit diabolical in this car. The suspension setups on these aren't necessarily the most sophisticated in the world, especially when you're dealing with just an attack, a literal attack of bumps in that corner for any car on all four corners. You want to have a really well balanced, really well sprung car, and I'm not really sure that is going to be the case today. You can actually see if you look carefully. I believe these have trailing arms even in the rear, so there's some pretty interesting suspension on them. I think it's going to be a bit of a test. They do have some decent power and stuff. This kind of a power track. They're all the same, obviously, so that should be interesting. They also draft quite well too, so I think that's going to definitely play a role today. You might lose a little bit of time on the infield, which is notorious around here. As well. To lose time is very easy, but you might be able to get it back on those straights, Charles.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we talked about, I've mentioned this before, how the big as we're working, we're about halfway through the lap. So as we are working around coming up to Tower, the biggest, probably the most driven class here in iRacing is probably GT3s, which obviously the Mustang has been a recent addition both in GT3 and GT4. And the kind of the rule of thumb is a GT3 car is about 80% race car and 20% road car, and then vice versa for the GT4s, where it's about 80% road car. I think these are probably in the neighborhood of about 97% road car, with probably some suspension upgrades and safety equipment added. You got a roll cage and your window
big
mats.
Spoiler glued on the back.
Big spoiler on the back.
Big stanchions. Very simple.
So these are not much more advanced than what you would see riding up and down the street. Once again, safety improvements, obviously, fire suppression system, radios, things like that. but you know, no AB or no airbags to speak of. So it's going to be interesting to watch these cars. These guys, and another thing, if you're a racer here in iRacing and haven't driven these cars, this is more of an H paddle or H shifter than it is a paddle shift car. Because it does have a clutch you can manipulate, things like that.
Yep.
So
probably some people out there using it, I would imagine too. There,
yeah, I'm
using
sure.
a paddle shifter. Should squeeze in quickly here just before we get started. Matt's Consulting, Matt 33 Consulting, sponsoring tonight's race, Charles, and I'll let you get her kicked off here. Thank you so much, Matt. We'll touch some more on that in a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to Matt Thompson for sponsoring tonight's race. As we come in around, pace car is off. We're headed down the front straight, and we're just waiting on the leader to kick things off. And I believe we are green, and here we go. 2 wide coming down. Looks like it's starting to fan out a little bit, about 3 rows back. Trying to look to 3 wide, maybe. I wouldn't try to push 4 here as we make it through. Kind of looking to see already if there's any instance, but looks like a very clean start thus far as we head our way down into turn 3. A little car out there on the right. Oh, and a little trouble in the back.
That's Brennan.
A couple cars back
I think
there.
that's one of the cars.
I think it's Josh Soto, Dave Jansen involved as well. I'm not sure who that was.
Same
Might have
livery.
been one car. Miles Crab off the track there, coming out of turn 3. And you see the curbs catching out. Is that maybe Stevie Ray? It kind of looks like his livery there is maybe catching him out just a little bit.
I was going to say, I hope not. Not this early in the race. Not Stevie already. No, I misspoke already. As well. That wasn't Brennan. Just a car with the same livery there. You can see it pulling up the rear now, unfortunately. We'll get back to you on exactly what happened there, but pretty clean start so far. There's a couple cars off track that we'll kind of have to dig into. David Finch leading, though, from everyone.
Indeed, Finch with a good start. He's taken over the lead with Labano, Anderson, Robertson just behind. And as they're working their way through Collier and Cunningham and working up toward the first time through the tower section here, as looks like we're back in a single file. Everybody seems like they are in still rolling. And we got Eric Yeagle. Looks like he did not take the start of the race, so he is going to be classified in 22nd. Unfortunate for Eric. As the rest of the field seems like we're moving okay. Got a couple of cars have dropped down just a little bit, but everybody's still rolling, and they're still pretty generally pretty close together. Josh Soto just off the back a bit, but knowing Josh, he'll make that pretty quick.
Probably
very quick driver. So Josh will not have any issues getting to the back of the field there, even with a 12-second gap. That's just giving him some clean air to work with. So see how that goes. As you can see, the group still pretty well stuck together. Just a couple of breaks in areas where maybe some cars ran a little wide, and it's kind of opened up a natural little gap. But you see, we head our way down in off of Matt Thompson's car. Sunset Bend for the first time. You see the cars bouncing. A couple cars running really wide out there.
Into the wall,
up and maybe one into the wall.
Yep, Andrew Love, I think.
Andrew Love, oh wow, Andrew Love into the wall, and Meatball Flag shows up. So mechanical black flag, he'll have to come in and serve that, which should be pretty easy considering he's right there at pit entry. Should just be able to pop right down. Soto in pits as well. So obviously maybe a little bit of damage on Josh's car that he needs to get cleaned up. So both those cars, I believe, will make it out. And yeah, you see the damage on Love's car there on the left front, our right front, as we're going to get a replay here as we get the run down through into Sunset.
Yeah, it looks like, again, so easy to do here. I think we've all done this in Sunset, where you can see that line just a bit wide. You get out in the marbles, you get out in the... and it just drags you into the wall, and there's really nothing you can do. You know, I bet you if you go on board there, it kind of looks like everything's on sort of at the beginning of the corner, and then it just gets away from you so quickly there. And I believe you had somebody kind of up the inside of him there too. We're going to take one more quick look at that and just see maybe how this happened, because he definitely, I believe, had a car on the inside, maybe a little target fixed here for the 945 as well. Cold tires, difficult corner on the second lap. Oh, so wide on entry.
So very, very wide. But then he gets on the outside. I think that was John Casey. Mm-hmm. And just nowhere for him to go. Casey ran it all the way up to the tire barrier and kind of bounced off himself just a little bit. But, you know, with Love, once you start outside, it's so difficult to get that car back to the inside with the curbs. It just doesn't, or curves. I'm sorry. bumps. It just doesn't want to let you get purchased to get back to the inside. As we see a little bit of bouncing,
Ooh, little
bit
stack up.
of a little back
Cookie
to
Monster
front there. Oh, the Cookie Monster
That was
car
Ian Anderson.
has, Ian Anderson has crumbled just a little bit there, but he's got that car fixed up and back out on the track. And so he's just lost a couple positions as we saw that nose to tail contact there coming down into the corner. We're going to make our run down again here as we head down the Ullman Straight for the second time tonight. 4 minutes into this, almost 5 minutes into this 30-minute race. As you can see him just fanning out as he's just trying to get that car to comply and keep enough grip to get the car to rotate through the corner. The wide line is probably the preferred line, but it's also probably the most dangerous line because if you get one wrong, the next thing you know, you're in the barrier. So you try and stay close, but obviously close has its challenges because there are so many more bumps on the inside there. It just makes it very difficult to get that car wrapped around the corner properly. Yeah,
absolutely, Charles. It's a good point. There's kind of just bumps all over the place, and if you've been practicing a line as well, and you're on that line, you've been practicing all week, and then all of a sudden you're on the outside of that typical line that you'd usually be on, and there's a just plethora of new character and bumps to the track out there that you're not used to, and it's so easy to get put offline in that corner by another car. I know it's happened to me, without even the sunset in my eyes. It just seems like that corner can suck you to the outside of it so easily, and you can see them actually kind of struggling every lap to try to get the nose of this car turned in. You're almost turning it in and then stepping on the gas as hard as you can to try to get it to turn and stay turned and set that front end in, and then you hit a bump and whoop, all of a sudden the front end's going to the outside again, and you got to let off the gas, and that kind of seems what's happening there, even with some of our more experienced drivers around here. So I can imagine, again, up the inside, there's so many lines through that corner, and you have to do something different than your competitor to try to pass them through there, and you can get caught out really easily.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're on board here with Edgar Sanchinelli coming out of Tower down the little mini straight here, trying to make up some time. He's about 126 behind Miles Crowd, and he's got Josh Justice and Ian Anderson right on his tail. So he's hustling that car around best he can and trying to make up some of that time.
Press square to intimidate. Huge.
Ian Anderson there to the inside of Justice as Justice took a little bit wider line there in the second half of Indianapolis to try and get that car around the corner. As you mentioned, that's another one of those little difficult corners that there's no help, no camber, so it's just you and your tires trying to get that car wrapped around. As we see Justice there in the classic Justice blue and black livery that Josh runs in pretty much everything that he owns. That's his car. As you can see, lost a little bit of the rear there. I think that helped Ian get through pretty cleanly. Those curbs going into Indianapolis, very difficult to kind of get, try and get right as wants to kind of break the car loose. It's a pretty high-speed corner there, and really easy to get that wrong. As we've got a nice gap opening up there at the front. Finch and Labano separated by a quarter second, but they've put 5 seconds almost on third place Kyle Robertson. Dylan Vose is in fourth, another second back. So these guys have already checked out and are starting to stretch the gap. It's going to be a two-man show here, it appears, at this point, for the race victory. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. As these guys, I think Labano just content to stay there and ride around in second place, but they've already got a nice gap. Looking a little further back, we see Anderson, I think, maybe had an off track there. But he actually got past Edgar Sanchinelli, so he made a pass for position. That moves him up to sixth. Sanchinelli down to second. Justice is still sitting there at eighth, but you can see nice little 5-car pack here doing some battling early. I haven't mentioned Miles Crab, who is our pole sitter, and has dropped down to P5. So now he is trying to catch up to Dylan Vose. You see him just ahead there. So he's looking to see if he can start making up some time and trying to run down those leaders. Obviously, he had some good pace in qualifying, so the pace is in the car. He's just got to extract it onto the track. You see him making the move there on the inside. Nice pass there by Crab to take over fourth place. and now he's going to set his sights forward on Kyle Robertson as we have another battle in the back with Edgar Santinelli on the inside there, and that was, I believe, Michael Brennan making the pass on Santinelli to move up another position. Santinelli dropping down to 9th, and he's got Joe Cicchetti right behind him as they head down the Ullman Straight. So it's going to be a drag race down here. Who's going to try and take the inside line?
Yeah, and that's exactly it. You gotta deciding whether or not you're gonna push your competitor. Is he a little faster than me, maybe through the infield? Is it gonna help me to keep him in front? It looks like that's what Joe Cicchetti's decided to do here, at least for the time being. I think we saw a little bit of that with Joshua Justice a lap or two ago as well, pushing Ian Anderson down that front straightaway. Ian Anderson making a comeback charge, already got by 4 or 5 cars on merit here. You can see you can see that move he made actually on Joshua Justice, kind of intimidated him wide into that corner, and then got in front of him, and just Justice was like, okay, I think I'll let Ian go, and I'll push him, and maybe I can gain some speed from it. And that's what you got to think around here too, right? There's other people out there. You have to know your pace and drive within it, and that's something took me multiple seasons to learn. That it's not just go as fast as you can at your upper limit the entire time. You're going to make a mistake. You're going to make a fool of yourself, perhaps. It's better to race within your limits and race your speed. Let those people by sometimes. If you're looking at your telemetry and he was 3 seconds behind you and boom, all of a sudden he's on your butt, might be a good idea not to put the shoulders up mid-race and lose a bunch of time.
Yeah, exactly right. As Brennan has made a pass on Justice to take over P7. Justice drops down a slot. Again, he is just in front of Edgar Santinelli, and that is a nice little 4-car group there as we're going to get the pass here as we're looking our way down through 6, making the run down into turn 7, the hairpin. You see Justice on the inside, and Brennan easily makes the pass. Got a good run out of 5 and 6 to get enough speed there to make that move and get that locked in before they even had to break for the corner. So great move by Brennan to pick up a position. And that's still, as you can see, several cars in line there. So we're going to still have some movers and shakers, I believe, in this group before it's all said and done. As we're on board here with Cicchetti, another one of those Frito Sport drivers, and it's almost like I think it's the Ray Esports group and the Frito Sport group and a few other guys. But the Frito Sport team is out here in force tonight. I think they've got 4 or 5 drivers in the field. Along with, of course, with their leader, Frito Edgar Santinelli. So nice group of drivers out here as we're making our way down the Ullman Straight. And we're going to see if Frito's going to be able to get a run here on Justice. I think not. I think he's just going to be able to hang on to that position. And, wow, still taking those really wide lines. You see Spolman on the inside there makes up tons of time with that inside run through Sunset Bend.
Oh, no.
And,
that was Stevie Ray.
Oh, Stevie. No.
Oh, the exit, that low speed exit, the bumps. It's so difficult in that car, unfortunately. Is probably going to have to get towed to the pits. We'll take a quick look at that, try not to rub it in too much here. You know what? Actually, it didn't come up on the replay. So, Stevie, you're lucky. We can't show it again. So, unfortunately, Stevie in the wall, and that's probably going to end it. I think he's going to try to drag it around.
He is going to try and drag it around, but he is literally dragging the front end of that car around this track. So I don't know, Steve. You might want to just go ahead and tow that one back. I think that's what he did. So yeah, I think he decided that's not going to be good. I don't think he would have made it back around before the leaders came back through. And I know Stevie does not want to interfere with the race at the front of the field. So very smart by the boss there, Stevie Ray, to bring that car back around via tow. And so we'll continue on there, but I hate that we don't get to see a replay, but I think I pretty much know what happened there as he got back on the throttle.
You know what? It popped up, I think. This might be afterwards. Might be afterwards, actually. Yeah, we can try one more here that popped up on our telemetry. No, unfortunately, it didn't give us one because I don't believe it was an off track technically, and he didn't slow down enough because he kept going so quickly there. I think that that we're not going to get that replay, but he's so easy to do there. I've seen that identical accident so many times, sometimes even at higher speed, right into the attenuator, into the pit lane, and so on. So fairly easy to do and very unfortunate.
Yeah, it really is. As we're on board here with our sponsor tonight, Matt Thompson, Thank you very much again, Matt, for the sponsorship. And Josh, I know you've got the information that we have as far as how we want to promote this. So I'll let you take care of that, as I don't, I think it was a last minute sponsorship, and we do appreciate it from Matt Thompson.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much the story there. Is Matt kind enough to pick up one of these races here? He loves these vehicles. One of the AMS drivers, beauty paint job out there from TW3 as well. I can't help but notice he's got a VNM crest on the nose of his car too. I love. I have VNM pedals at home. Bit of an obscure brand for some, but they punch well above their weight. If anybody's looking for an amazing set of pedals that have a really nice load cell and stuff in them as well. Also, love that paint job, the green and purple on there, just amazing. Reminds me of I don't know, Rocksteady and Bebop or something from Ninja Turtles. I love it. I love that paint job, love the paint scheme. Matt's a great guy too, so thanks a lot, Matt. And that's going to be Matt 33 Consulting, so if you're in his area, look it up.
There you go, Matt 33 Consulting. So we're back, and Miles Crab is starting to do a little bit of work. He has got past Dylan Bose and picked up P3, and so he is we'll see how the time goes. He's 7.3 back now. We're at the halfway point of the race. He is there just ahead. Oh, is Kyle Robertson, gets a little squirrely there coming out of turn 7. Gets it caught back up as he got Ian Anderson right behind him, looking to pick up that spot as soon as he makes a little bit of a bigger mistake. As we're going to get the replay here. He's working our way down through the Sunset Bend, and pretty straightforward there. Vos moving to the inside, taking the inside line, and getting the car back out. And so Kyle Robertson in P5 there, and still well within. Still well within striking range here. He just got to get knuckled back down, as Crab is apparently trying to pull away from these cars. So Miles is starting to pick things up a bit. The time hasn't dropped yet, but we'll see once we get through the couple straightaways if Matt is able to pick up a little bit of time on the cars in front, as we're going to go back on board here with Joe Cicchetti as they work their way around into Le Mans. Once again, you see how the line here, you have to be very careful not to get back on that loud pedal too quickly. Otherwise, you'll find yourself over on that curb and then in the grass and then possibly in the opposite side wall as the car's on there. Yep. When you get back on the throttle on that curb on the outside, tends to want to sling you across the track. As we got a nice little battle here between Cicchetti and Justice, and Cicchetti taking that inside line. A couple of these drivers had figured out that inside line is pretty quick. So him and Sancinelli both taking the inside line, and Sancinelli gets through. Justice is in a fight here, drag race down the front straight with Cicchetti. They work their way down to turn 1, and looks like Justice is going to have the advantage and will maintain that position. So he's going to hang on to P9. Got to hang on to it there as well. As you see a little fight back, and that was enough of a little run out to allow Cicchetti to the inside. And so now we're side by side again. So we're working our way through 2, 3, and 4, and 5. As Cicchetti now on the inside line gets the run and gets past and picks up P9, drops Justice down to 10th. Seth Bowman there licking his chops, seeing if there's going to be an opportunity for him to move up a position.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a front row seat for that battle there. That was a good one. You can see the cars slithering around and wallowing around on brakes and on power and over the curbs. Just a pretty fun car there. And Joshua Justice hanging out on that high line on the outside, able to get some speed out of it on the inside. Not an easy line to hang out on when there's someone on the inside of you like that. Cicchetti as well went on board with him there quickly, just to kind of get a visual of how busy you are on the wheel. Mid-corner through Sunset is more like taking chops at 15 corners while you're going through it sometimes as the car slithers around and stuff there. But pretty cool stuff up front. Still pretty line astern here between David Finch and Chuck Labano. Not really sure Labano maybe saving it up for the end here. He is still in striking distance. Keep an eye on Miles Crab here. Usually a really fast driver. Usually has a good deadly kind of one lap speed when he wants it. So
yep.
He should be able to catch up here, I would think. We'll have to keep an eye on his lap times. I'll pull some sectors up maybe perhaps in the next bit. Come on, some other drivers out there as well. Actually, I mentioned Kyle Robertson showing some really good pace tonight. Usually maybe a mid-pack driver tonight, up in the top 5 easily, top 4 now easily. Michael Brennan as well. Some pitfalls. We've watched him in the AMS series, just getting caught up in things that aren't his fault and stuff quite often. Wow, that was wide, very wide for both drivers. So they're pushing, aren't they? There's nobody. They are not half speed there for sure. That was right out to the wall, wasn't it, Charles?
That really was, and Chuck Labano was essentially in a drift going through there. Really had the rear hung out as he was trying to get that car to rotate around. It just didn't want to. It was trying to spin more than it was trying to move around the track, and Chuck did a great job to hold on to it. And that might be one of the reasons he's maybe struggling a little bit, not able to close it down, although I did see him pick up a 10th there just in the last couple of corners. So he is trying to make that gap up, but I think he's struggling maybe in the higher speed sections and doing a little better in some of the slower speed stuff. And it's allowing him to keep a little close there. As you see, if he got the gap down to 8/10, it was up to about a second as they were on the back straight, and then on the front straight. So he's able to get through the slower speed and get the car working pretty well. As the gap back to Crab, I've been watching, still hasn't moved really. 7.5 seconds has been pretty much the gap since Crab moved up into P3. So running good pace, but he's basically running the race of the pace of the leader. So not able to close that gap down. Even got a fast lap there in lap 5 with a 2:22.7. Set the fastest lap of the race thus far, but it hasn't been enough to really move the needle, as it was only about a 10th faster than Labano in P2. So still not able to close that ground just yet, but you can see Crab is starting to ramp things up a bit. So we'll see what happens as we move forward a little bit. But this battle here stuck at about 0.8, and you see now up to 0.9 is Finch gets a better run into the corner, but Chuck gets a better run out of the corner. He's now closed it down to 3/4. You see the draft starting to work, and that's going to bring it down to 0.6. Let's see how much more he's going to be able to gain on the straightaway, down to working toward 0.5. So picks up a nice 2 or 3 tenths there coming down the straightaway just via the draft and a good run out of the Le Mans corner. So able to get it down to a half second, and they're going to head their way around down the front straight out of Sunset Bend. And the gap is still going to close down a little bit more as the draft builds here on the front straight. As we're going to go back and look at Miles Crab. And that may be the reason he hasn't been able to make up the ground, is I think the 2 cars in front with the draft is helping just keep enough pace between those 2 cars that they're not able to close it down. So looking down the timing tower, we've got Josh Soto with a slowdown. So he's ran wide somewhere, and the iRacing stewards have decided that he needs to give some of his time back. As Dylan Vos here with a nice battle between him, Ian Anderson, and Kyle Robertson. Battle for 4th position as we're around a little under 8 minutes to go here in the race. So probably another 3 laps or so when we come back to the line. And as you can see, Miles Crab can see them off in the distance, but they're not getting any bigger in the windscreen. So he is unable to close that down. The gap is growing a little bit. It's up to 7.8. So these 2 guys up front are starting to pick the pace up now, as I think Finch maybe realizes that Labano's not going to go away, and he's going to have to do something drastic, or he's going to really have to push the limits of this track and the limits of his car in order to secure victory tonight. It's really been a nice battle up at the front of the field.
Yeah, it definitely has, and I think that he's been keeping him honest up there for sure. Chuck Labano has been keeping David Finch honest this whole race, and I think he's probably about ready to pounce. You saw that draft working, and then really tidy line from Chuck Labano through Sunset, and that might just be enough. He seems to have a tidy line through pretty much the rest of the course, staying pretty line astern with David here. So it's going to be hard to defend him off, in the wee hours of the race here for sure. And I think you're right. Miles Crab probably not really be able to put much of a dent in this, just because this straightaway is so powerful on that draft. And back, of course, to Ian Anderson here, who's just charging through the field. He's been making headway. Not easy to get to pass necessarily. You can catch people, and then you also have to get around them. So that's obviously held him back a little bit here, but yeah, some pretty good racing out there for sure. Not too many people off track, not too many mistakes. Still battling in this pack of 3 or 4 here as well. Seth Spolman still watching back and forth. Joe Cicchetti won't give it up here. He's going to look up the inside.
Yeah, absolutely. As Cicchetti's looking to the inside there, looking to run around Justice, but Santinelli battling on the outside there. You see the two cars coming almost side by side, coming out of Sunset Bend, and Cicchetti's going to hang on to the spot. Santinelli's not done yet. Still got 4 cars in a pack here with Justice leading this group, and then Seth Spolman bringing up the rear. So nice little 4-car battle, and don't think that one is over just yet. We got a nice little fight here between Kyle Robertson, Ian Anderson, Dylan Vose, and now Michael Brennan joining this group. So another 4-car battle here. Is we've got these 4 cars battling for P4. So it's been quite the struggle here. Kyle probably doesn't have. I think it's been pretty much 2 cars, and then Crab I think has got the pace of the front 2, and then it's kind of the rest of the group. But I think Kyle Robertson is really struggling with this group of cars behind him, just trying to hang on to that position. They're making him work for every bit of it.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been putting up a darn good defense here with Ian Anderson so far. And again, not easy to get around people in certain parts of this track here, especially in a car like this, as I was mentioning in the run-up. You can't necessarily just dive up the inside on the brakes and then smash the gas and take a place. You have to really think about it. If you dive too deep, you'll lose all these positions and then some in one corner if you miss it just by a tiny bit. And Ian Anderson knows that very well. Very good driver. We see him in the Weekend Warriors, of course, on the weekends, winning races and up at the front often in the SRF. I believe in the FF too, he's done really well. So showing not only can he race, those cars, the Weekend Warrior vehicles, but also these big Mustangs as well. Having a little bit of bad luck there at the beginning, but trying to make some headway back now in this pack of 4 here and try to get around Kyle Robertson, putting up an amazing fight. But back to the front here, the wee hours of the race now is when Chuck Lobano is going to have to make that move. Now is when David Finch is going to have to figure out how to block that move. It's not going to be easy into Sunset, is it, Charles? Into Sunset, down that back straightaway. You're kind of a sitting duck, and man, oh man, have I ever seen some sparks fly in Sunset on final laps, because it's not an easy place to get by a car either cleanly.
Absolutely not. As we're 2 to go, we just crossed the line here. 2 laps left for our drivers tonight. And just realistically, Chuck Lobano is at 0.6 behind. He probably needs to be at 0.3 going on to that backstretch, as we've got Spolman there just not sure what that was, but they were very, very close to the inside wall there. I did not catch, and we're going to get a replay here as we get on board here. It's Spolman. Oh, there we go. Almost lost it. Hang on to it. Cuts it back across. I don't know. I don't see a penalty, so I guess he got away with that one. A lot of times you might get a unsafe pit entry by crossing over the pit line, but it looks like we're okay so far. So obviously Seth Bowman dodging a bullet there as he lost the rear coming out of Sunset, and he's lost the gap to the cars in front. He's 2.8 behind Santinelli now. And we'll go back to the front, as I was saying. Realistically, Lobano needs to be about 0.3 back, and he's already closed that gap down to about 0.4 now, but he needs to be 0.3 back coming onto the back straight to make that run down and challenge in Sunset, but doesn't want to do it this lap, I don't think. I think he wants to just kind of ride behind, keep it close for the next lap or so, and then the last lap is when we're gonna make our charge and our run, as Matt Thompson has a meatball and is in the pit. So tough for Matt tonight. We do still thank him for his sponsorship, although we would much rather seen him up toward the front of the field as opposed to toward the back of the field. So tough break from Matt tonight. He's going to walk out here, looks like, with a P19, and he'll, I'm sure, get ready for the Spec Miata race coming up here just a few minutes after this race concludes. We'll give everybody a chance to get over into that race server. And there we go. So you see the 0.3 there, and you see Chuck Lobano just kind of looking around, see where he's got a place to make a play, get a good, nice, tight run there out of Sunset. That actually gave him a couple of tenths, and that's going to give him a nice run down the front straight. as we end up on our white flag. This is our final lap of the race, and Labano is going to make going to take a look, but he decided not to go just yet. That's probably pretty smart, as Miles Crabb is sitting there in a distant third and losing time, unfortunately for him, as we see Kyle Robertson now making a pass over Dylan Vose to pick up P5. Vose will remain in P6, and there's the guy there move to the inside there, coming through. Coming out. Oh, and contact, both cars spin, and they're both into the barrier. Oh my goodness, that is not the way you want to do that. And Miles Crabb is going to get a gift as he moves by, as those cars are trying to get rejoined. Both cars have damage on the front end. Neither one has a meatball as of yet, so they're going to continue, but they've just basically handed the race win to Miles Crabb with a 6-second gap now, and damaged cars. I think Crabb is going to be okay. He can probably even pull back just a little bit, as you see Labano running wide there through the hairpin, gets the car stopped and turned through the corner, as Ian Anderson now looks to capitalize on this. He's going to make the move. He's going to get past Finch, and he's going to try and get past Labano here, and does so. Labano just wisely lifts and lets him go by. So move Ian Anderson up to P2, Kyle Robertson up to P3, Dylan Vose up to P4, and Chuck Labano is towed back to the pits. That is race over for Labano. And now I think that David Finch is just going to ride this out and finish off this race. We'll see if anybody is going to be able to make up the gap with his wounded car. See Cicchetti 7 seconds back, and the time is dropping. So that's not out of the woods yet for David Finch. That top 5 might be in jeopardy here, as Miles Crabb taking over the race lead as we come down to the back stretch. This is Ullman for the last time. And we're going to have a 3-car battle here between Ian Anderson, Kyle Robertson, Dylan Vose. And we're going to get on board here as we making the run down. You see Finch there in the background. Cicchetti still closing time, and Miles Crabb is going to take the race victory very easily, as a matter of fact, as he comes out of the sunset bend for the last time, and he's going to pick up that race win. And there's Miles Crabb getting the victory over Ian Anderson, Kyle Robertson, Dylan Vose. We're going to get a switch. No, I don't think anybody's close enough, so that is going to be your top 4. And now we've got Finch and Cicchetti coming around for the final time. And is it going to be Finch? It is indeed. He is going to just pip Cicchetti by 1.3. Justice finishing 7th, Spolman 8th. Sechinelli is going to finish 9th, and Aaron Bray is going to finish in P10. Brennan drops out. So just a great bit of driving there, and just unfortunate for our two race leaders basically getting into each other's way on the last lap.
Unbelievable turn of events there right at the end, after so much clean driving and waiting around, just lurking in the background, and finally makes that move. We'll have a look at it here, and unfortunately just a little bit of contact there, and then it just kicked off, and that was it. So this is going to be actually a little bit after. We're going to have to do a little bit of scanning here and see if we can actually find this initial incident. And here we go. This is going to be the initial incident here. We'll see if we can't slow it down a little, and just that contact right there, that tiny little, very fair little door kiss, and then it's just going to swing back the other way like a pendulum, and they're both going to go off like synchronized something or others, synchronized Mustangs.
Synchronized spinning.
Yeah, unbelievable course of events here, and they're just desperately trying to turn it around. I'm sure looking at their relative going, oh no, and then nope, that's it. Miles Crabb easily goes by 2 very wounded race cars. And that's going to unfortunately be it. A win taken so easily, and a podium for Labano as well. Wow, what an upset, Charles.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that would be put in the upset category for sure, as we should be able to pull up our race results before we do a couple of interviews. We'll try and keep everything brief here as we have to get over to the new server as well. So Miles Crabb, your race winner. Ian Anderson finishing in 2nd, Kyle Robertson 3rd, Dylan Vose 4th, David Finch 5th, Joe Cicchetti in 6th, Josh Justice 7th, Seth Spolman 8th, Edgar Santinelli in 9th, Aaron Bray rounds out your top 10, Michael Brennan finishing in 11th, Bowie Sewin finishing in 12th, Josh Soda up to P13, John Casey in 14th, Freddie Weaver 15th, Zach Miller 16th, Dave Jansen finishing in 17th. Chuck Lobato is going to be listed in P18, Matt Thompson in 19th, Stevie Ray in 20th, Andrew Love 21st, and then Eric Yeagle, not taking the start, will be classified in 22nd. And so let's go ahead and bring in our race winner, Miles Crabb. Let's have a quick conversation with him, and we have one more interview after that. So let's bring Miles in. I'll drag him down. Miles, I've often said that sometimes you have to be good, but sometimes you have to be lucky. And I think tonight was one of those nights that you had to be lucky.
Yeah, I didn't deserve that one. I got actually really lucky. Right when the pace lap started, I had a super bad blink because it's storming here in Alabama right now.
Yeah, I'm aware.
I was like, ooh, everybody disappeared for 10 seconds and I was losing connection. And it came back before it kicked me. And then at the drop of the green flag, it blinked again and came back like in the brake zone, and I hit the brakes and it had like reset the range on my brake pedal for some reason. So I had like 10% brakes. I was like, all right, I'm just sending it and going through the grass. I'll see if I can make it work by the end of this lap. And it all reset and it all came back. And then I just started doing laps and stay in the race. Sometimes the leaders crash.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, you dropped off, and obviously that the internet connectivity with a little bit of thunderstorm activity here locally will absolutely do that. And but you managed to just hang in there. You worked your way up to P3, and then the leaders just decided they were going to start battling, and it wasn't anything. I don't think it was anything intentional or anything like that. It was just a little bit of side-by-side contact, and the next thing you know, they're both into the barrier. Yeah,
unfortunately on iRacing, door banging really isn't a thing. If you do that, you kind of just spin. So, that's a hard place. I was struggling with throttle, especially in the race because it was later in the day and more temperature in the track. Mm-hmm. It wasn't lack of talent on their part or anything. It was just trying hard and probably just touched. It happens. Been there, done that.
Yep. Well, Miles, congratulations on the race victory. And we'll let you give some quick thanks, and then we'll bring our other interview in, and we'll let you get over into the other race session.
Yeah, I'll do this quick. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Mom. Hi, whoever else is watching. I put it in the group chat, but I haven't checked it. It's been mostly talking about buying an MR2 for Champ Car. So,
there you go.
Yeah, been a lot of fun. Nice to see some people from the league at the Super Tour this past weekend. And thank y'all for broadcasting. Let's see if I can get another interview at the end of the next race.
Well, let's see if we can do that. So good luck, Miles. We'll see you in just a few minutes. And thanks for stopping in. And we'll go ahead and let you go. And we'll bring in our other interview as we bring in Dylan Vose, who I believe finished in 4th position tonight. Dylan, congratulations. I think P4 for you after all was said and done. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct, man. Kyle was amazing today. He made that Mustang so wide.
Good defensive driving. Yeah, it was a great battle. It was that you had 4 or 5 cars that were involved in that pretty much the entire race. But then just drama on the last lap with the leaders, and it elevated you guys up a couple positions. So congratulations and well done.
Awesome. Thank you guys very much. Not too bad for just jumping in a car that I haven't driven in years. So I got to thank Ian Anderson for giving me a little tips on the setup, though. That was he kind of got me pointed in the right direction, and everything went well with that. So thank you to him, first of all.
Yeah, absolutely. Ian is good. Ian is good about that. That's that's one of the things I like about this group is everybody's very friendly, very helpful. But then when they get on the track, it can be a little cutthroat. I mean, but it's racing. So what do you expect, right?
Yeah, for sure. It was very nice to actually have that battle with them, because I'm pretty sure I was in the center of a battle or near a battle the entire race. So
there you go. Well, Dylan, congratulations again on your P4, and we'll let you give any thanks and let you jump over into the Spec Miata server, and we're gonna try and do the same here just shortly.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to give a shout out to my friends and family, and for you guys for throwing the broadcasts together. I know it takes a lot of work to make this broadcast look as good as you guys do, so thank you guys very much, and thanks again to Ian Anderson.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Dylan. We appreciate the kind words, and we'll drag you back up out of here. And there we go. All right. So race 1 done. Race 2 coming up. We're going to take a short break here, get everybody over, and we'll be back with race 2 for tonight, which will be the Spec Miatas, I believe, also here at Sebring. So stick around. You're going to be you'll be in for a good race, I promise. And we'll see you in just a few minutes.
Getting hit multiple times coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows.
All right, no problem. And welcome back. You know, the good thing about a long pace lap is if we have technical issues, we can get them solved before we lose any racing. So, hey, welcome back. This is race 2. This is the Spec Miatas here at Sebring. Again, Charles Boshell alongside Josh Wilkie. And we're on our pace lap, and we're going to quickly run through our starting lineup and bring that up. So we'll go through that really quick as we got Kyle Robertson sitting on pole. Drive Trainer Motorsport, our sponsor for tonight's race. So congratulations, Kyle.
Hey,
Byron Hayes starting in P2, Seth Spolman in 3rd, Chuck Labonte in 4th, 5th is Miles Crabb, Ian Anderson in 6th, Bowie Sewin starting in 7th, Scott Russell starting in P8, Andrew Love in 9th, Joe Cicchetti in 10th, Stevie Ray, David Finch is row 6. Row 7 is, as we get the WD-40 working here on the screen, we've got Aaron Bray in 13th, Josh Justice in 14th, Edgar Santinelli, Michael Brennan in row 8, Dave Jansen, Wayne Buttermore, row 9, Daniel Clark, Charlie Vaccaro, row 10, Freddie Weaver, Joaquin Effinger, row 11, John Casey, Zach Miller, row 12, and I believe we had Matt Thompson and Tom Went rounding out your 26-car grid. It is indeed Josh Soto there in 25th, so 27 cars. We do have Joe Cicchetti and Freddie Weaver starting from the pits. So we are just about to go racing. And Josh, obviously, this old school Mazda racing at its best, a little bit of a few differences between the current Mazda Global MX-5 and this car. Primarily, it's just going to be a little less power, a little more drafting, and the opportunities for some money shifts. And I think that's about the biggest changes.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's already looking exciting out there in these cars, the way they sound, the way they look, moving around. You gotta love them. It looks like they've finally fixed the cone sticking out of the rear wheel on this update too, Charles. I think the last time
how about that?
we did this, there was the Gladiator cone sticking out of the side of them, and it's gone. So they're looking pretty good. They sound excellent. And I think this is going to be great. These, we picked up a few drivers here for this one as well, because they are so popular. I think they're really fun cars, and this gives everybody a chance, maybe who didn't have such a good race last time, to go and have some fun, maybe have a better one this time. I'm expecting this is going to be quite the race here. These things are a blast.
Yeah, they really are. 27 cars on grid. That should make for some really good racing as we come around Sunset Bend. Getting ready to take the start of the race, and we'll mention a few things as we go here, but let's get this start going as the pace car dips down into the pit lane. And I heard we were going to go on green flag, so we'll wait for the flag to fly. And there we go, and race is on. Already fanning out 3 wide up at the front of the field. You're going to have to get that sorted out pretty quickly as they're making their run down into turn 1. And it looks like it's going to be Byron Hayes in the lead. It's going to be a fight between him and Kyle Robertson. 3 wide at the front of the field, and they just get squeezed back down into 2 wide, and that was just enough to get everybody through there. But a good start. No casualties into turn 1 as we head into turn 3. And we've still got Byron Hayes up front, followed by Kyle Robertson, Chuck Labonte, Ian Anderson, and Seth Spolman, your top 5. And looks like everybody is off to a really good start, Josh.
Yeah, amazing to watch these cars all start so clean through such a difficult start procedure too at this track. Is that first few complexes of corners there are nothing to scoff at for sure, especially when you have 3 cars potentially beside you trying to figure it out. As we're watching Dave Finch, almost leader of most, or pretty much the entire race there last time, sorting it out here in about the mid-pack beside Stevie Ray there in the shiny, nice livery. So he's going to have another chance at this one as well in these guys. But this mid-pack driving, I can tell you from experience, this is where the action is. This is where the knives come out. This is where the shoulders are. It is not an easy place to drive. I'd almost rather be Kyle Robertson up here sometimes, even though the pressure is heavy up here too. You just know sometimes it's not going to be quite as frenetic. There are not quite as many cars all around you sometimes, although, in this start procedure here today, we're having a pretty good one side by side almost everywhere throughout the whole field. Not sure where to look, Charles.
Absolutely. But we will say Kyle Robertson has taken the lead. Byron Hayes has dropped down to P3 as Chuck Labonte snuck in there. Got to see it from the rear bumper of Robertson's car as he snuck to the inside there, gets the pass done to move up to P2. He wants to make up for that race. I did hear the guys talking as we were on the lead in here trying to get everything up and running. And, no harm, no foul between Labano and David Finch there as we get a good run there by Labano coming out of the tower. And he's going to be just off the back there of Kyle Robertson's car as they are just almost touching as they come down. I'm sorry, this is into Sunset Bend for the first time. Really wide line there by Labano on entry. Gets it tightened back up there on the mid corner and a good run out. Really slingshotted around that corner well.
Yeah, these things seem to handle the bumps on this track fairly well here for sure. They're sort of just powered enough that I think you can kind of just step on it in a lot of places there and sort of let the car, you just want to open the wheel, trying to keep that momentum up as much as possible, but fighting here at the top 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 cars there back to Joshua Justice, all battling for position here side by side through most of the track. See how long this can stay, keep this up for. The rest of the pack will start to catch up at some point if you fight too hard. That being said, it kind of looks like the whole pack's fighting all over the entire track at the moment, so perhaps it's balancing out kind of all over the place. You can see our timing tower on the left side there lit up all yellow and orange. That means that they're very close together. You can see that one white number there means it's over a second or around a second, so everything under a second at the moment, as we're seeing, I believe, besides Seth Spoolman here, is going to get passed by Miles Crabb. So Miles Crabb making his way through the pack here. We know he's a bit of a specialist in these cars. He's taken a couple wins in front of us, I believe, Charles, as well as a couple of the other drivers here. You always see Seth Spoolman out in these as well, in that cool Appalachian livery there that I always like with the topographical map.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's while we're kind of nose to tail here, still packed very close together. Top 20 cars within a second of each other. But we've got to stop for a second and thank our sponsor, Drivetrainer Motorsport. As I was sitting there, as the logo popped up on the screen, and I got to get back over to the joy of broadcasting here on the fly. Yeah. Hey, so if you want to take your racing to the next level, Drivetrainer Motorsport is your new go-to for club racing in the Southeast. Hey, that's me. We specialize in getting road racing newcomers to the grid with car rentals, race weekend support, and driver development. Contact us on Facebook or Instagram and see what happens when sim gets real. Thanks very much to Drivetrainer Motorsport for the sponsorship for tonight and for the entire season for these Spec Mazdas. So really appreciate Drivetrainer, obviously Kyle Robertson, as well as Byron Hayes, our front row sitters there at the start of the race, still running P1 in a very tight P4 there as he's got that car. Ian Anderson, Miles Crabb on the inside. So Hayes getting kind of caught up on the outside there and losing a couple of spots. He's going to drop down into P5 as Crabb moves forward. Chuck Labano setting the fastest lap of the road. Now it's Miles Crabb with the fastest lap of the race, 232.183 as Hayes works his way back around to reclaim that spot. So short-lived there for Crabb. He's had a good run out of Sunset Bend, but was not able to hang on to it. As these cars, if you talk about the draft, these cars are going to be draft amplified compared to those Mustangs, and you can see they're already basically same pace as the old venerable V8s and the Ford Mustang.
Well, as we see Chuck Labano making a move there, just almost chopped the nose of Kyle Robertson off there. Kyle Robertson keeping those tolerances as tight as possible to the back of Chuck Labano as well, not to hopefully lose another position here from Ian Anderson, trying to stem that bleeding, see if he can hold the inside into the chicane here. Definitely the optimum line. He's going to get a little bit squished, a little bit tight on exit there, so that's going to hurt him a bit. But wow, a lot of fighting up at the front here. I think these cars just kind of promote this kind of driving, like you were saying there, Charles. They draft pretty well. They're all they're all identical to each other, and they're not necessarily the hardest car in the world to drive. They're hard to be really fast in, to be a specialist in, and to really be able to extract lap time out of isn't going to be an easy thing to do. But you're not wrestling the car quite as much as some other cars, which I think makes them ultra racy, and that's kind of what we're seeing here today with just a line of cars here back to about 11th or 12th place. Anybody, could take the win in this whole camera shot that we're seeing right now. There's so much left to happen in this race. Anybody could take it, I think.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Is watching Josh Soto working his way up. He's sitting there in P17, just passing Daniel Clark. So he's picked up a position there. And Soto, I think, had already passed him before, but then got to slow down through one of the corners. So had to give up a little time, but he's back on the charge again. And we've seen this before from Josh Soto. Is kind of one of those guys who really excels in navigating traffic, working from the back to the front, and does it with really, really good pace. So we'll see what his lap time is as he was navigating through and finally getting a little bit of clean air here as he's looking to the inside, trying to work past Aaron Bray. He just got past Dave Jansen there, so he's going to pick up P16. He's got Aaron Bray in his sights now for the next spot, will be in the top 15. As we got a little bit of a gap up front now as Labano and Robertson are starting to do battle at the front of the field as they make their run down into turn one, and it's going to be Robertson on the inside getting the advantage as we're playing a little bit of leapfrog up here with the front two cars using that draft to their advantage, making the pass, getting it cleared before they get through the corner is the fastest way around this track. Obviously, once they get in, and we're going to watch them through the difficult turn 5 here. This is where we had the incident last time, as we see Labano catching a bit of curb, coming back across the track, but behind Robertson, so no harm, no foul there, as Hayes is now in P3 with Anderson in tow. So still lots of battling going up at the front of this field. As you can see, it's just when you think there's going to be a little bit of a break, you get a little fight between two cars, and it all closes back up again.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's the way it's going to be. Josh Soto still marching through the field here. Got a bit of a gap to make up now to the cars in front of him. We'll keep an eye on that to put a 3-second gap. They're fighting up there too, though, so his overall pace should be quite a bit higher than theirs, especially through this infield here where they're going to be battling with each other. A little bit interesting, actually, and surprising to see Kyle Robertson and Labano fighting quite so hard this early in a 30-minute race here, because as you can see, I was just about to say, hey, it looks like they're working together. They've actually got a bit of a gap, and then nope, they're not working together. They've been side by side almost every corner since that thought came across me there. So a little bit surprising to see, but then again, it makes it exciting, right? It's hard when you're in the car not to think like, hey, I'm going to try to get in front. This guy behind me is going to catch me if I don't get around this guy, and you convince yourself of it, and then you've just got to go forward, and that's race driving. Looking at these cars and wondering, did they do a bit of a graphical upgrade on these? They do look a little bit nicer. I mean, they've certainly cleaned up that little cone on the back, I would imagine.
They have indeed.
They did a bit of a pass on them, because they're looking pretty today. They look nice.
Yeah, it's nice to see, because I don't think that was in the update list that they posted. So it's just kind of one of those, hey, we fixed something. We don't have to tell you about it. It's a legacy car anyway. It doesn't really matter, but it was on our nerves, so we just took care of it. So thanks to iRacing for making the little things that make this sim look really, really nice. Makes these cars look very realistic. And as we see the battle still going up front, I think this battle, as we talked about, you get that good draft. If you're running behind the car, you get that good draft, and it just makes you want to pass. Now, once you put your nose out like this, as we're seeing here with Ian Anderson, that passing becomes a little more difficult because you lose the draft and you get that wall of air, in front of you, slows you down almost immediately. So you have to be very sure that you got some, at least some help in front or some help behind to maybe give you a little bit of a push. As we still got the battle up front, that's keeping this, all the way down to P13, 14. Josh Soto now in 14th has closed the gap down to Scott Russell, running in 13th and already around, and away he goes. So move Josh up to 13th, and he is 1.3 off this front lead draft train that we've got here at the front of the field, with Labano leading Robertson over Hayes, Anderson, Spolman, Justice Crabb, Bowie Sewin in 8th, Andrew Love and Stevie Ray in your top 10. So some of the grand racers here of Spec Miata are going up front there. And I did want to mention, Miles mentioned in our interview earlier about the Hooters Super Tour that was at Road Atlanta last weekend, which is obviously about a 3-hour drive here from Birmingham, which is where Miles and I both live. And we did see one Skip Brock Jr. on the grid, I believe, in the Spec Mazdas. and I think we finished in the top 10. So I think he finished either 6th or 7th out of a 52-car field. So congrats to Skip for a good run. I think he had a chance to maybe pick up a few more spots, but there was a late race caution that prevented any more action after about the 25-minute or so mark. So the last 10 minutes were run under caution. And but congrats to Skip for a good run this past weekend. And if I got the car wrong, I'm sorry, but I believe it was the Spec Miatas.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool to see. Sort of, it's always cool to make a connection to the real world and stuff through here, and we've seen it a bunch, through these leagues, especially the Ray Esports racing universe here. Lots of real race car drivers out there. Lots of back and forth between real drivers and digital drivers sharing experiences and all kinds of stuff there. I should actually mention here as well in our chat, big thanks to Tom Wendt here for the $5 donation. Says, love you guys, keep up the great broadcast. Work my 600 children kept me busy tonight. He wanted to be on the track, but he couldn't. And Tom Wendt does some fantastic paint work. A lot of the cars out here actually have Tom Wendt's gear on it, and it does make your car a little bit faster. So if you need to get a good paint on your car, definitely you can hit Tom Wendt up over at TW3 Paints. You can hit us up at SMB, Slow Motion Broadcasting Discord as well, and we can probably hook you up with some details there. Another big thanks to Terry1727 asking as well here that they'd like to get involved. Yes, absolutely, Terry. In the description here, you will find a Discord link. Click on it, and you go to that Discord there, say hello, and we will get you linked up to come race with us in any one of the many series we do. We love seeing the crossover here, and thank you so much for the $4.99. Helps out around here for sure. That's how we get this stuff done. So thanks for the donation. Thanks for the kind words, everybody out there.
Absolutely. And just a little note here, we do have both Joaquin Effinger and Charlie Vaccaro in the pits. Both have, I believe Effinger was able to drive into the pits. Vaccaro towed, so there might be a replay that we might need there, Josh, as we see Soto take it to the inside 3 wide through the hairpin corner and trying to get a 2-for-1, and the car on the outside, there's David Finch, and he does not want to give that up just yet. So a nice battle here between a very fast David Finch and Josh Soto, sitting there just outside the top 10, and that is going to be the pass for P10, as they have got past Stevie Ray has dropped down to P12, Michael Brennan in 13th, Scott Russell in 14th. So still battles all up and down through here. Is now we've got a little bit of a gap because of that battle. Andrew Love is about 1.1 off of the back of Josh Justice. You can see the gap on your screen there. It's really not that much, and they can probably pick that up the next time the top two decide to go side by side. Is Stevie with the chrome looking good there, Stevie. That's a nice looking paint scheme for that Mazda. As he's working his way around, just a little bit wide there, and able to hang on to and get through.
Yeah, just battling with. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Sorry about that. And
just
we're
battling with Michael Brennan there for sure for a little bit. It's not, even back at the back of the field there, close to the rear of the field. Still, actually, that's about midfield, isn't it? Still tons of battles out there. I should mention, actually, Tom Wendt is in the field out there. He had a bit of an off-track earlier. I think maybe he, a bit of an off-track maybe set him back a little bit earlier there, but it does look like he made it in for the Mazda race, so great. Good to have him out there in the field for sure. Too bad he missed the Mustang race. I know he's got a beauty paint job to show off there. We'll have to show off next time, but yeah, good to see him out there.
Yeah, Tom, you might don't text and drive, please. We do.
Now that's impressive.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I was gonna say we do appreciate the comments
and,
on YouTube, and making donations, all that stuff.
That's why he went off.
That's it. That may be exactly why he went off. But Tom is in there. He's in P25. He's toward the back, but still got about half of this race left. We're only at the 16-minute mark here. There we go with the nice purple livery and the purple Mazda.
Yeah, looking good.
Looking pretty good. Oh, a little gradient pattern there on the side from purple to black to aqua blue. Looks very nice. I like that. That's pretty good. I'm not necessarily the biggest gradient fan, but that's a very nice pattern there.
Yeah, for sure. He's really, really good at those colors and making those colors pop and kind of whatever you want, right? He does some classic liveries and stuff too for some NASCAR stuff, some really cool classic liveries from NASCAR's history and stuff like that as well. So, also, truth be known, has a pretty amazing diecast collection as well. You probably want to check out. I'm a little jealous of his car collection. Oh, Ian Anderson up the inside there. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. I was gonna throw out an old NASCAR paint that I want, but that's fine. We'll keep this going.
Yeah, that was quite the lunge there from Ian Anderson. We'll maybe go back and have a look. Very opportunistic. Gonna miss out a little from Spolman, but we'll get a replay for you here, Charles.
Yeah, still battling there with Seth Spolman side by side, coming out of the corner, heading down out of tower, down the little mini straight here before we get over to the last couple of corners before Ullman. And Anderson's going to hang on to P3, but he's got just some hungry drivers behind. Byron Hayes, Seth Spolman, Miles Kraft, Josh Justice, Josh Soto now up into P8. So he's already climbed up into P8, and he's on the back of this group, and he'll be looking to work his way through with the quickness as Andrew Love and David Finch round out your top 10. So nice little group here. We've basically got 8 cars in this group here, as Labano and Robertson have been able to get themselves a little bit of a gap from all the battles up at the front of this group. So they managed to have about a 2-second gap, but I got this feeling that will close and that will not be there by the time this race is over. We see Justice running really wide there coming through Sunset Bend, gets the car through, and a good run, but Soto able to make that car work on the inside and get that position. That moves him up to P7 as we continue on here with 18 minutes gone in the race. 12 minutes left to go, and Soto plenty of time to make up a few more positions to get up toward the podium here in this race. Is already looking to, but he's going to have a little bit of a problem there as we've got basically 3 wide coming down into turn 3, and Soto hanging it up on the curb on the inside, gets through there, gets past Spolman to pick up P7. No, a little bit of contact there. Spolman runs just a little bit deep into the corner. Is going to lose 3 positions to Josh Justice, Andrew Love, David Finch there just on his outside. Not quite in the screen just yet, but there we go. So as I'm looking at my screen and not the race broadcast with a different camera pack. Thanks, Josh.
Whoops.
Yeah, it happens. But as you can see there, still Ian Anderson running in third. See the damage there on the 147 car as I'm looking at the back of that car with Miles Crab looking to work his way around in the crimson and black with the white trim. And he's going to work his way down into on the outside there at Collier. He's going to be able to work his way on the inside through Cunningham. He's still got side by side. He needs to get this cleared and does so. Able to get clear. Oh, not quite, as we make the bend around into Tower. So it's going to be 2 wide through Tower.
Wow, lots of side-by-side. This track just sort of promotes that. He's going to give him a bit of a door there, I think. Make a little bit of room for the 131 from the 147 there as Joshua Soto applying the pressure from the rear, not giving an inch. And I know I have had Joshua Soto in my rearview mirrors before. I've tried to keep him behind me. I don't think it worked out well for either one of us the time that me and him got into it. To be honest, I maybe put a shoulder up a little too much in that particular instance there. But he is going to be staying behind Ian Anderson for the moment. I don't think that's going to last too long here. But this train of cars just getting bigger and bigger. Andrew Love has now right up to the back of Joshua Justice, Seth Spolman just behind that. Soto popping out here to have a look beside Ian Anderson into Sunset. Let's keep an eye on this one and see exactly how it's going to work out. Soto with a really clean line up the inside. Just a bit of a clinic he puts on in these cars, doesn't he, Charles?
Yeah, it really does. As Soto moves his way up into P4, right behind Miles Crab running in P3. The gap now 4.4 seconds from Crab up to Robertson, who's still behind Labano, sitting there. That is your top 2. And starting to get a little room as now Soto has worked his way to the inside here at turn 1. He's going to make that pass easily over Miles Crab, and Soto is absolutely flying as works his way out of turn 1 in P3. So now in the podium positions, and the hunt begins for the top 2 as Soto works his way through turn 3, in through 4 and 5. And they're going to get this run around, and we'll see what kind of gap that's going to be once we get down to the hairpin, as Crab is going to do his level best to hang on to the back of Josh Soto for as long as he possibly can. And I guess that there's a few drivers out there that can match Soto's pace, but I don't know that anybody as fast as him, just outright, as we see Soto working his way in through the hairpin, carrying a little too much speed.
Big
and then a
pile
wreck
up.
behind. That was Seth Bowman, Andrew Love. Oh no, and they're still coming through.
Oh, Stevie Ray
backing up.
almost.
Stevie, a glancing blow there by Stevie. The 57 car essentially gets through. The couple other cars sneak through there, but obviously you can see just we get a replay here as we're on board with Bowie Sewin, heading our way down into turn 7. And let's see how this got so wrong so quickly. Oh, a big dive there by, was that Seth Spolman at the inside? And just couldn't get the car stopped after the dive. And you see the carnage. Andrew Love involved, Sewin involved, a couple other cars involved. Daniel Clark, Andrew Love, David Finch, Dave Jansen, all in the pits with damage, and just not, that was never going to work.
Unfortunate.
So Seth Bowman, and his racing name is Bad Idea Factory Racing.
Oh no.
I think they just generated one, and he tried to apply it, and it failed miserably. Sorry, Seth, I couldn't help myself there. Just not a great move, and several cars paid the price for it.
Yeah, unfortunate there. Looks like he got a little bit spooked maybe from the car in front, a little bit unsighted perhaps. I know it's happened to me in the SRF once or twice from so close to somebody, in the moment when I kind of need to be seeing around them, and it looks like maybe the brakes were applied in front of him. He got a little bit spooked, he just missed his braking completely, I think. Yeah. It was kind of the issue there, because we know Seth Spolman usually not one to make super froggy moves like that out of nowhere, so I would imagine that's what it was, and he's not feeling too good about that at this moment. A bunch of other drivers, of course, just got nowhere to go, right, Charles?
Yeah, absolutely. It very well could have been hardware failure. We don't know, but definitely out of character for Seth. It's been a very, very good racer here in the Ray Esports series, so that is kind of out of character for him. But that has shaken up the top 10 for sure, as Lobano and Robertson still lead. Josh Soto has cut that gap down. Now it's 2.4. And then a 1.1 back to Miles Crabb. So Crabb has kind of lost the draft to Soto. Soto is on a charge, looking to make that run up to the leaders, and has still plenty of time, as we have 6 minutes left in the race. So it's going to be 3 to go, I believe, next time. Well, we'll see. Is it going to be 2 or 3? It's going to be very tight there on the timings. We'll get a better look as they come around the start-finish line. But Soto still has plenty of time with the amount of pace he's shown tonight. Was 2:31.10 his fastest lap. To give you a comparison, Miles Crabb, I'm just kind of looking down the list, had the second fastest lap, 1 second slower. So that just shows you the kind of pace that Soto has out there tonight. And so he's going to make this difficult. These guys, I don't think these guys realize they probably don't want to be battling side by side just yet. They might want to save that to the very end and try and keep as much pace going as they can, as the gap still closes down a little more inside of 2 seconds now. Soto up to Robertson. As I did see, I think we've got some lap traffic up ahead from some of our cars that have came back out after getting their cars repaired. So I could not catch the number. We'll see if we can get that as they come by. But Byron Hayes making a move up to P7 over Aaron Bray. And we'll just Stevie Ray in P10, Edgar Santinelli P9, Scott Russell P11, Matt Thompson up to P12. So we're going to get another move here at our replay of a move involving Byron Hayes over the 6 car of Aaron Bray. And side-by-side racing down through this section. All over the curbs was Byron Hayes there. Good bit of driving there. Nice entry into that corner. Gets the car slowed down to make it. And we've got a couple of slowdowns now. Oh, we got an issue there. That was Lobano around, and that was on Robertson's nose. Oh, that had to be unforced error. We're going to get a replay of that, but you see Josh Soto making the move around to take over the race lead. So he's already out in front. So that is Kyle Robertson, I believe, saying that he was apologizing for that. We're going to get a replay here as they make their way around Sunset Bend. You're going to see Lobano on the inside, Robertson on the outside, and just tried to line back up, and they still were too close together. And once that starts, I think it's pretty much a done deal that that's the end result when you get a little corner contact there between those two cars. Stevie Ray, black flag in the pits. And very odd that he got a black flag for that. Lobano with a meatball flag, obviously from the contact, and he is done for the day. Lobano not having the best day, it has to be said. That is, Chuck out of the second race after getting the blow of the final lap of race 1. We're going to get another look here as we get a no shot here, and it's just not clear. And he was trying to move back over and get in line. So
close.
Yeah, really was. And
so hard to tell, right? It's you know he's not doing that on purpose, obviously,
no.
And he's just trying to keep it close, maybe even get a push going right away, and just really unfortunate there. You know, it's hard to see. I don't have a proper chopper cam, I don't think at the moment, but looking straight down, that may have even been a couple inches or a half foot of neck code possibly. That got them there. But wow, what a bummer up front for Chuck Lobano after 2 really impressive performances tonight, keeping the car clean. And the first one there, just a really simple kind of move door to door. I don't think should have crashed the cars the way it did in the first race there, and then just unfortunate circumstances in the second one here. But back to the kind of mid pack here, 14th. Wayne Buttermore is out there. Didn't even notice. I'm seeing his paint job that is always recognizable. He's out there fighting in a pack here with, I believe that's Joshuah up in front of him here, or just behind him, Zach Miller in front of him. So all kinds of battling all over the field, even if we are getting some pitfalls.
Yeah, absolutely. As you see the battle here off of Freddie Weaver's cam, and there's contact.
No, I got to stop.
Amongst those guys, and that's Wayne Buttermore involved, as well as Bowie Suin with a slowdown. And he's going to have to work that off down the back straight, which is the worst place to get it. You don't want to get it there. We'll get a replay here as they're taking it almost 3 wide, coming into the Indy section, and just looks like we're going to get the same thing we had last time as just a little deep on the brakes there by Weaver and making contact with Buttermore, sending him in a little bit of a spin there. Both able to recover and get back going again. Lost a couple positions, so Buttermore 15th, Freddie Weaver 16th, Tom Went sitting there in 17th position. So he's working his way up the field, just basically by the attrition. So sometimes you have to be good, sometimes you have to be lucky. And so Tom picking up some spots there from the pitfalls of others. And we're going to get back on board here with Joe Cicchetti. And I believe we're on our final lap, Josh. We might want to pop up to the front of this group here, or front of the field.
It's snuck up, this is so much action. It's hard, as a producer here too, and there's so much going on in this race. There was battles everywhere. Great race. But I think you're right. I think we're on the last lap here.
So Kyle Robertson is in P1, Crab in second. Soto, who was leading the race, is now dropped down to third. So I'm not sure what happened to Josh, but he's lost some time and lost some position. So he's back into P3, and Robertson in the Drive Trainer Academy car is taking the lead, and now he's got 2 very fast racers behind him in the form of Crab and Soto, and Ian Anderson as well in that group. So we're going to see what we got here as we're coming around, and just a nice move by Crab there, and caught Soto out. Able to get by him on the outside, and maybe Soto had a slowdown or something, but it just kind of looked like he was maybe off the pace a little bit. But here we go, down the back stretch for the last time. It's Robertson, followed by Crab, followed by Soto, followed by Anderson, and that is your top 4. 3 of these people are going to be standing on the podium, and the other one's going to be wishing he was. So we head down the long Almond Straight for the last time into Sunset Bend. Is Crab going to get close enough to make a move? He's going to try and keep it that close and maybe take it to the inside. He is looking to the inside there. Close the gap up to 2/10. He's got to get the run out of the corner as well. Quarter second between the 2 cars. I don't think he's going to have enough. It's going to be Kyle Robertson taking the race victory over Miles Crab. Josh Soto finishing in 3rd. Ian Anderson in 4th. And it looks like Josh Justice is going to make his way around to secure P5. But a great bit of racing, and it was interesting that we had more incidents there in the final couple of laps of the race. Unfortunately involving Chuck Lobano again, as well as David Finch, who was involved in that wreck in the hairpin just a couple of laps prior to that. So So a couple of really fast race cars did not make it to the finish, and that's always unfortunate, as we had a really good race on our hands tonight. Both races, both the Mustangs and the Spec Miatas.
Yeah, absolutely. Sebring, a pretty close one there between, I believe that was Bowie Swen and Freddie Weaver. Pretty close right to the end there. Almost impossible to keep up with all the action out there with these Mazdas for sure. I need another set of hands and another couple monitors to keep all of that action on screen at once.
Probably involved and you never can tell, right?
Yeah, exactly. You got to look somewhere, and I'm sure we caught a whole bunch of it there as well. Some people finding some pitfalls. Seth Spolman being one of them here, finally bringing her around to the end, sort of. Yeah, not exactly sure what happened there. Hardware failure, maybe a little bit of a spook. Who knows? I know it's happened to me going into corners like that as well. You get a little unsighted. Joaquin Effinger going to bring it home in 19th. David Finch, our leader for most of the last race there, falling victim again to some pitfalls here, as well as Chuck Labano. So 2 days there, two tracks perhaps that they're going to want to forget here, or 2 races, I mean to say. Pretty good race overall, though. I'd say on both tracks and both sets of equipment there. Lots of action out there today for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Great racing tonight, both in the Mazdas and in the Mustangs. And we're going to get you our final race results here. And we do have a couple, 3 now in the waiting room for interviews. So we'll we're going to get a replay here, the 77 car working his way around. This is David Finch. Unfortunate for him, not quite the race he wanted tonight in either one. Not quite the finish he wanted in either race tonight, to be fair. So let's see, Josh, if we can get our final race results up, and then we can go into our interviews. Kyle Robertson, your race winner by 2.22 seconds over Miles Crabb. Josh Soto finishing in 3rd. Ian Anderson just a 10th behind in P4. Josh Justice finishes in 5th. Aaron Bray in 6th. Byron Hayes finishing in 7th. Edgar Santinelli in 8th. Scott Russell finishes in P9. Matt Thompson rounds out your top 10. John Casey finishing in 11th. Joe Cicchetti finishing in 12th. Zach Miller 13th. Bowie Sewin in 14th. 15th was Freddie Weaver. Wayne Buttermore in 16th. 17th was Michael Brennan. Seth Spolman finishing in 18th. Joaquin Effinger finishing in 19th. David Finch finishing in 20th. Tom Wendt finishing in 21st. Daniel Clark 22nd. Chuck Labano 23rd. Stevie Ray, the leader here, finishing in 24th. Dave Jansen 25th. Andrew Love 26th. And Charlie Vaccaro is the final finisher in our 27 car grid. And we have interviews to do. So let's bring in, first and foremost, not only our sponsor for tonight, but our race winner as well, Kyle Robertson. And I'll drag him down. Kyle, congratulations on the race victory. And also, again, we thank you very much for your sponsorship for tonight. But a pretty exciting race up there at the front. It was a big draft pack for about 2/3 of the race, and then it kind of got crazy there at the end.
Yeah, it was chaos at the beginning. At one point I was kind of like, you know what, let me just tuck in with Chuck and just push him for a while and try and break away from everybody else. And I gotta also say, like, I'm so sorry to Chuck. I didn't look and see if it was netcode or anything, but I saw Josh coming and I'm like, all right, let's just try and push Chuck the whole straight and see what that can do for us. And I guess I just had a run out of 17, so when I moved over to try and push him, I don't know if it was netcode or the slight kiss, but I'm really, really sorry to Chuck for that, because that was not my intentions at all, what happened there.
Yeah, definitely looked like that's what the intent was to just try and tuck in, maybe do a little bump drafting down the straight, because Josh Soto was coming in a hurry, and just didn't work out, unfortunately, for Chuck Labano. Just two very difficult races. Had good race cars in both of them and just couldn't quite get to the end. But definitely looked like netcode from our perspective. So still sure, I'm sure Chuck just is unhappy with the result, but I'm sure he's not unhappy with you, as obviously I heard, because I've got the driver chat on. The apology over the air, which is always what you want to hear between competitors. So Kyle, the last couple of laps, what we didn't see was, we know Soto got to the front, but we didn't see how he ended up in P3. Can you give us a little bit of knowledge there?
Yeah. I saw a lap car. I don't know if the lap car went under the bridge and hit the wall and ricocheted back into the middle of the track, or just spun and it ended up in the middle of the track. But he spun right in Josh's path, and Josh kind of had nowhere to go, and they just made contact.
No, that explains it. I was wondering. I mean, kind of looked like Josh was going to set sail once he got past, and then next thing we know, he's back there in third and not able to pick it back up. So Kyle, once again, thank you very much for the sponsorship, Drive Trainer Motorsport. We do appreciate it so much. We love doing these broadcasts. We love watching the racing here in the Ray Esports Club Racing League. And so we're going to give you a chance to give thanks and promos and whatever else you want to do.
Yeah, I wanted to give you guys a shout out for the amazing coverage. Stevie, Edgar, Matt, I think everybody else who get this league going. Thank you so much to them. Really enjoy this league, and we're very happy to sponsor a race, because this is the kind of series that needs to be broadcasted, because we have a lot of real world drivers in here that don't get a lot of shine, and it's amazing to be racing against them. So yeah, thank you to you guys. I want to shout out my teammates, Byron and I think Bowie were in this race as well. That was a blast with them. And my team, Andre, the owner, and basically the whole Drive Trainer Motorsport team. Just, we always try and help each other get faster, and it seems like we're running up towards the front a lot more than we used to, so it's great. I'm looking forward to next week. And thanks guys.
Thank you very much, Kyle, and we look forward to next week as well. So we'll let you go, and we'll bring in our next interview, and that'll be P2 of Miles Crabb. So we'll get a chance to talk with Miles again. And so with Miles, P2 here in race 2, congratulations. And we get a chance to chat with you again. And I was going to mention, you mentioned the Hooter Super Tour that was at Road Atlanta last weekend. I did catch that, a little bit of it on the internets, and saw one of our Ray Esports guys, Skip Brock Jr., out there doing battle. Was that in the Spec Miatas? Is it Spec Miatas? Was that what he was running?
Yeah, he was running Spec Miata. Boshell was in SMX. Jake was in V's with me in Fords. I saw so many names I recognize that I'm starting to blank on them, but
yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch as much as I'd like. I think I watched the Spec Miatas and then the Spec Racers that followed on Saturday, but did see Skip out there, so it was kind of cool to see him out doing battle, and was up in the top 10. So how about the rest of the group? We get some good results out there over the course of the weekend?
Michelle had a dang good SMX race. I think she ended up 5th.
Okay, there we go.
And then I accomplished my goal. I beat all the old guys in FF. I had nothing for the kids in the Cahill cars. Like I'm unwilling to do what they did to their cars to win those races. Yeah, Saturday was good. Sunday was a nasty, rainy, not wet enough for rain tires, but wet enough you had to run rain tires. And I made an executive decision not to roast a set of rain tires, and just ran a pace. And again, beat the old guys. Didn't almost got lapped. Was 3 seconds away from getting lapped, but just brought it home. Car's in one piece. It's still in the trailer. I've yet to unload it and go on to. I think I'm going to try and hit VIR. Right now, there's no other FFs.
Okay.
But we're doing a bunch of other stuff. The plan is to go to runoffs this year, and now that it's at Road Atlanta for the next 2 years, the 27 and 8, probably do those too.
There you go. That makes it easy. It's an easy drive from here in Birmingham over there, and it's just fun to go out there and watch racing. So let's talk about the Spec Miatas here tonight. I'm really, really tight at the front of this field for most of the race, and then it just kind of got crazy at the end.
Start, we fanned out like 3 wide into one, and I thought I chose a pretty good lane in the middle, and I let one guy go by on the outside, and then I look up, and Josh Justice has made up 8 positions going around the outside, so it was like, I made the wrong lane choice. And then it was trying to settle in and trying to run as a pack. We had some spins and some dive bombs and some accidental dive bombs and some catching the inside wall and bouncing into me and giving me engine damage. After that, I was just hanging on for dear life. I didn't have straight line speed, so it was all corner. And like halfway through, spotter was like, 14th place just did a 31. And I was like, oh, that's Soto. And then like 4 laps later, he's on my bumper. So it was suddenly, all right, guys, we got to go. Like, we have a hope. We got to go. And then, yeah, on the last lap, coming to the white flag, I guess a lapper spun and caught Josh while he was in the lead. And then it was me and Kyle, but I couldn't draft up to him on the back straight with the damage I had. So I tried. I let off the brakes and tried to roll the center of Sunset, and I just broke even with him. I didn't make up any time. So good win to him. I hate that Chuck got spun. Seems like it's just a miscommunication between him and Kyle. And I have no idea how Soto is so fast in these cars.
I'm just going to let you know, you probably race with Josh enough that when I say this, that he's pretty fast in every car. So it's not just these. He's just quick, and that's just we've seen him in variety of cars during broadcasts, and he starts in the back and races to the front, and sometimes he wins, and then sometimes he gets caught out, and that's kind of what happened tonight, unfortunately for Josh. But fortunate for you, because you got a P2 to go with your P1, and so congratulations, Miles. We'll give you one more quick chance to give thanks, and we'll bring Josh in and have a conversation with him.
Yeah, I want to hear what he has to say. Hi, everybody who's watching. I called you all out earlier. Thanks, Stevie, for putting this on. He's retiring next month, he's telling us, so he'll actually come out and play with us instead of just running the whole league. And thanks to Edgar for being in the mod and dealing with us. And thank you all for broadcasting. You do an excellent job.
Thank you very much, Miles. We appreciate that. And we'll see you next time around.
See y'all.
That was Miles Crabb, our P2 finisher. And then we'll bring in the hard charger of the day, if nothing else, but our P3 finisher, Josh Soto. So we'll bring him down for a quick word. Josh, congratulations on the P3. Obviously, started off in the back. We've seen you do it a bunch of times and just kind of work your way through the front, up to the front, and then sometimes you don't quite get there. Sometimes you run into the falling anvils, as my old buddy Ron says. And then tonight it was a lap car. Ended your last to first challenge with a little bit of front end damage.
Yeah, it happens. It definitely was the anvil today. Yeah, definitely was the.
It was a Spec Miata
anvil.
But these things happen in racing all the time, so I don't sweat it. But yeah, I mean, we had some good pace coming into this race. I it was just really just biding my time and trying to move as safely as possible, but also getting the positions as fast as possible, because we only had like 30 minutes in this race. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it was overall a good race, and unfortunately that happened, but I think we did pretty good.
Yep, I would agree with that. I think pretty good is a good assessment as you worked your way up through. Josh, we've seen it. We talked about it many times. When you jump in, we just marvel at the kind of pace you have. So give us a good trick here, a little bit of a tip on how you end up being as fast as you are here in the Spec Miata.
Well, I mean, I think the best tip I would say is just practice. I know that seems like very cliche, but practice as much as you can. Like, if you can find, like, for me, this is my home track, right? So sometimes I'll spend maybe 100 laps, maybe like a day just practicing or something. If it's a really important race or something coming up, I'll spend a long time. So just go to your home track and learn it as much as you can, race in as many vehicles as you can, and it makes a huge difference.
Well, yeah, that's a good thought, but I'm sitting here thinking about me running hundreds of laps at Barber, and I'm not sure that I want to do that. So Josh, congratulations again on a P3. Should have been a P1, but P3 I'm sure you'll be quite happy with. So we'll let you give any thanks or shout outs before we let you go for the night, and hopefully we'll see you again real soon.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, thanks Stevie Ray. I want to thank Matt Thomas for the sponsor, and also sponsor of the race, and then also Driver Train Motorsports for the sponsor of the second race. Also want to thank Slow Motion Broadcasting. You guys do a great job, with the broadcasting. And also I'm going to thank my sponsor, Academy Sim Racing, for helping me in sim racing and regular racing.
There you go, Josh. Congratulations again. Thank you very much for stopping in, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Yep. See you.
And that was Josh Soto, P3 tonight. So that gets us our entire podium. Josh, a really great night of racing. Some really fast cars, and some excitement and some disappointment as well tonight. But overall, I think really good racing tonight.
Yeah, I think you summed it up pretty good there. Some highs and lows for sure out there tonight, even a little bit of production issues here in the booth. So everybody having a bit of a high and low tonight, but always a great night with the RCR crew. You never know exactly what's going to happen. The Mazdas are always a good race, and it's a little bit of unfortunate stuff happening here and there, but also some excellent moves. So pretty happy about it, and definitely looking forward to the next one for sure. So if you're out there looking to pick up a race and sponsor one of the RCR races, you can get in touch with us here at SMB or Stevie Ray at Ray Esports Racing and help us out. And we do thank everyone out there watching, listening, donating, supporting, all of that stuff, and driving on track as well. We can't do it without you. So thank you so much, and yourself, Charles, as well. Good job tonight.
Yep, thank you very much, Josh, and thank you as well for all the hard work you do behind the scenes and giving me a chance to have a water break now and again. And normally at this point the broadcast would be wrapping things up and talking about upcoming events, but it's week 13, so we don't really have a lot of upcoming
it's looking
events.
a little bit all the same at the moment. We got Liberty Bell coming up on the 15th, and then
Liberty Bell on
new
Sunday.
schedule coming.
We do. I think we do have the. Not quite announced yet. The V runoffs, the Week 13 V runoffs for the Weekend
correct.
Warriors.
Yep, they're coming.
So they'll be here on Sunday as well, along with Liberty Bell at Alton Park. So that should be a really good race as we in the GR86, as that's a really fun combination. The American Muscle Series will be back on Tuesday. As well as, I think that is pretty much it. Then we'll probably have a little bit of break as we get wrapped around for week 1. All of our normal leagues, the Weekend War, the Ray Esports, the Liberty Bells, the SRG Sim Racers Group, F3 and F4s, all those will be back in full swing. So kind of a little bit of a break week as we reset and we look at the pretty new graphics and all the new things that iRacing has to offer. But for tonight, that is all we have for you. I have been Charles Boshell, along with Josh Wilkie. We thank you very much for your support, for your viewership, and for cheering on our drivers. Once again, thanks to Kyle Robertson there. Matt Thompson, Matt33 Consulting, as well as Kyle Robertson with Drive Trainer Motorsport for sponsorship tonight. And that is it for us. We will see you later on down the road. Be safe. Take care.